Hi, I'm Adam, and I time traveled here from the year
3000. Unfortunately, I don't know how to get back, but I'm here to tell you about how important space is to our future, so you don't lose interest or anything. Right now, I'm a ranger in Olgon Wildlife Park, on a giant rotating habitat orbiting the sun. But I did just transfer from an H3 chainsaw mining facility on Neptune's orbital ring. So, you're probably wondering how we got here. In the 2020s and 2030s, launch costs were dropping due to reusable rockets made by SpaceX, Blue Origin, and other companies. People were also beginning to realize the potential in the moon and asteroids as mining facilities or space bases. So there were many attempts and small successes in that department. But the problem was still the same. Launching rockets was just too expensive. Even if the cost per kilogram went down from 20,000 to 1,000 by 2033, it was still too much. Earth's gravity was just too strong. Over the next couple of decades, asteroid mining became very lucrative and provided a lot of nickel and platinum to the world, fueling our innovation and new technologies. Some small space-based solar power units were launched. These utilized solar satellites that beam the energy back down to Earth on rectennas and microwaves. They weren't affected by seasons or the atmosphere, and they received power 24/7. These were able to bring renewable power to millions. Nations and large companies were starting to understand the importance of space, and everyone wanted a part in this market. In 2052, many countries came together and built a mass driver for $1.3 trillion. This critical move was called the cracking of the egg for humanity, a path where we could reach space out of our egg, Earth. It was a large tube that diagonally shot up 80 kilometers. It was able to take loads of cargo or passengers and shoot them off into orbit, no rocket fuel required. This lowered launch costs to under $10 per kilogram, making space construction viable. In the next century, dozens of mass drivers were built around the world. Hundreds of new power satellites were constructed, along with many new, larger space stations. There were many asteroid mining facilities and even a large moon base / colony with over 2,000 residents at any time. We even put a colony out on Mars back in 2070. But by 2197, a rich young enthusiast by the name of Gule Napper decided this wasn't good enough. He said that space was still mostly for the rich, and that his vision was a solar system and eventually a galaxy covered in humans. He used his immense wealth to start construction on an orbital ring, a large ring space station that orbits the Earth at the same time rate as Earth spins. Many more investors spilled their money into this project, and it was built over the next 40 years. Over 50 space elevators reached down from the station and up from the ground, up and down from and to space. This orbital ring allowed people and materials to be transported around the world and into space at super high speeds. After 35 years, space grew even bigger. A second orbital ring was being constructed, and at this point, over 600,000 people lived in space, either on a station or on one of our colonies. Still nothing in comparison with a total human population of 12 billion. In 2280, the first rotating habitat was built, one of the most important moments in human expansion. It was small, only about 2 miles long, but it allowed about 8,000 humans to live independently from Earth, with gravity. These rotating human habitats, often called O'Neill cylinders, after the man who popularized the idea, spin and use centrifugal force to hold people to the sides. They use solar and nuclear fusion to power themselves. Fusion is the process that happens inside the sun, and since the 20th century, people have been experimenting with hydrogen and helium to make fusion happen, creating the power of a mini sun. We achieved that in 2078, but solar is still a very useful source. Fast forward 4 centuries to 2700. Our spaceships have gotten faster and faster, up to 12% the speed of light. We've done this in part thanks to fusion and fusion engines. But helium-3 is still very rare on Earth, so we've planned and started to construct new, large space mining facilities and refineries on gas giants like Neptune, Uranus, and Jupiter. We have built about 80,000 more rotating habitats. The materials for these have been mined from all over the solar system: moons, asteroids, dwarf planets, even the Earth's own core. We continue to mine, but we still haven't even begun to touch the amount of resources our solar system alone offers. Anyway, Many of these massive O'Neill cylinders are tethered together or connected with high-speed space monorails. O'Neill cylinders can be purposed as nature reserves for hundreds of species of animals, large farms, or even futuristic megacities or ecumenopolises. These groups of space habitats can make up completely new countries with new governments. There are well over 3,000 strictly spacefaring nations with their own sets of ideas and trade. Their populations range from 2 billion to ones as small as a single cylinder. Now over 9 billion humans live in orbit around the sun in what's called a Dyson swarm, but it can get much bigger. The human population boomed up to 63 billion with new anti-aging technology and the average number of children per household moving from 2.1 to 2.6. For now, these humans are scattered across the solar system. There are humans within small colonies on most of the moons of Jupiter and Saturn. There are humans living in Venus clouds. Some have even gone far out into the solar system to colonize the Kuiper Belt and the Oort cloud. A space nation of about 4 million called Khat has recently announced that they will be preparing to travel the entire country made up of 200 rotating habitats. They'll be making the slow journey to the closest star system, Alpha Centauri. The system is 4.3 light years away, but the cylinders will only be traveling at 4% the speed of light, so the journey will take them well over 100 years. Meanwhile, almost all humans have moved off the moon base. Over the past 50 years, we've been planning to terraform the Earth's moon through various processes to make it into a sort of mini-Earth. This is estimated to take about 200 years. If this goes as planned, it could really affect how future humans colonize the galaxy. And now, over 300 years later, in the year 3000, the moon has been successfully terraformed, and the same things we did to the moon, we should be able to do on any planet. It is now being used as a research facility for genetically engineering animals to live in lower gravity. Also, many new resorts, condos, and malls have been built there. A new habitable world means a new economy and new infrastructure. Meanwhile, Ka is over in the Alpha Centauri system. Because communication can only travel at the speed of light, it takes over 4 years to send and receive messages. Waiting for a response back takes about 9 years. We are soon trying to use lasers to create an interstellar highway between us and Alpha Centauri that should bring travel times to just over 10 years. CAT has encouraged its citizens to have more children so they can expand more into the system and take advantage of all the newly discovered exoplanets' resources. So from the recent reports, their population has gone up from 6 million when they arrived to 594 million people spread into different colonies. The total human population is now at 304 billion, 220 billion of which live in the Dyson swarm habitats, and we are soon hoping to send more people to different star systems in hope of colonizing the entire galaxy.
So you're probably wondering why. Why would we want to go off into the solar system? Why would we go to Mars when the conditions are so good here on Earth? Well, what's the point? Well, the answers vary, but one of them is so we aren't putting humanity's eggs all in one basket. If an extinction level event occurs on Earth, we're done. Another reason, and perhaps a much more important one, is humans' natural desire to learn, grow, and explore. It's the same thing that drives us to innovate. The universe is huge and fascinating, and there's so much for us to take in. What am I asking of you today? Why did I come back in time? Nothing much really, but I don't want you to give up on space, and I want you to recognize the importance of it. Companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin, and hundreds of other small companies will build a way for you to the universe and will do great things. But space agencies like NASA are also incredible because they don't have an incentive to make a profit and often provide free satellite information. So balance is always good. If you want to learn more about science, space, and futurism, you should check out Isaac Arthur's YouTube channel. And if you want to learn more about space, check out space.com.